Hey, it's Ray. Alright. So, Imats is officially over for me. It's only 3 o'clock on Sunday, but I had to leave Imats early on Sunday. I wasn't even sure if I was going to go because I wasn't sure if my model pass would get me in both days, but it did, and I ended up going, but I went with my girlfriend, and she had to be at work by 2, so we left around 1. Got there at like 10:30, and I really just wanted to go today because I knew ahead of time that I wouldn't really have time to shop on Saturday. So my Imats weekend is officially over. I considered going back after I dropped her off at work, but I'm exhausted. It's just been a long month getting ready for this in general. So Imats recap. crystalpowder.com, and I started getting ready for Imats, a little bit over a month ago when we were notified that, she was actually going to be one of the contestants in the competition, and it's been a long month. It's been a really long month, but very nice outcome, actually. We started over a month ago. We started brainstorming. We started shopping right away and everything and whatnot. So when it came down to it, would I do it again? Yes, I would. I honestly was getting really stressed out this past week, getting really frustrated and irritated all week, pretty much concerning and pertaining to this competition. But the outcome it was stunning, and it was amazing, and it was an experience that I will definitely never forget. So just because I'm going to post videos and I'm going to try to kind of organize them, I'm about to shoot a lot right now. So you'll see me in my Bill Cosby sweater, which will be explained in one of these videos. So little recap of Saturday, just because I didn't get to film as much as I wanted to. Things got kind of rushed. So originally our email said 8:30 call time, that models and makeup artists had to be at the booth or on the stage, in which was designated for us to do the makeup on 8:30, 9 o'clock at the latest, because 9 o'clock was supposed to be not dress rehearsal, but a rehearsal on stage, so the models knew the path, the walk they were supposed to take, so that the runway show was pretty much organized and would run smoothly. We were running a little bit late. We were a little bit rushed, just all morning. Crystal and I both missed breakfast, just kind of underestimated time. We spent a lot of time at her house that morning, triple checking and making sure that we had everything that we needed before we actually left to go to Hollywood to get my hair done. And then we did actually ended up forgetting something, which was she forgot to bring her apron, and so then we stopped at Mr. Valdez's house after he sewed on the wig to get his apron, to then find out that they provided them for us at the show. But we were prepared in case we didn't have it at all. And then we didn't even end up using it. I just used it to wrap around my legs because I was cold. So that's how that went. We arrived, and we were one of the first few, and we picked our number. We were number 7. So I was model number 7. She was artist number 7, which also meant that we were 7th to go down the runway out of 8. We honestly wanted number 8 because we wanted me to be last. I'm pretty sure everybody wanted them to be last, but we took 7. It was close enough. So we arrived, and they told us to start setting up our stations then. So we started to set up our stations. 9 o'clock rolled around, and all the artists and models weren't there yet, and they opted. I figured, if there was deadlines, that maybe, that would be it, that you'd be out or kind of like on your own as far as, getting stuff set up and done and knowing what to do if you were late. But they opted to have us wait for them, and it wasn't until about 9:15, maybe even closer to 9:20, that they took us all off the stage and to the runway stage, where we were gonna do a rehearsal. We did the rehearsal. That ran pretty smoothly, and we came back, and it was 9:50, and they told us we had 10 minutes until it was going to be the start time. Now would be the time to put on you know, costumes if you wanted to do that ahead of time, and, you know, finish setting up your stations. Crystal had to pee. She was nervous out of her mind, and I wasn't in costume yet. And so we had to run to the bathroom, which was a task in itself, because maneuvering from the back of the hall at Imats to the front and out the front door to the bathroom is a task in itself, whether you're rushing or not, because there's so many people. Like, Saturday was sold out. There was, I believe, you know, like 8,000, you know, attendees scheduled to attend. So it was pretty crowded by the time 10 o'clock rolled around. Considering the show had opened up an hour and a half before that. And so we got changed and everything, and as soon as we got back to the station, you know, they announced 10 o'clock, your time starts now, be done by 12. And I wasn't even in my seat yet, you know, she didn't have her compressor on or anything, but we got situated within the next couple of minutes, got me in the chair, and she started the makeup, and there wasn't a lot of conversation going on because we weren't allowed to talk. So I had my sunglasses on the whole time, which you'll see in my runway rehearsal and probably saw already in or will see when, depending on how I upload these videos. But I had my glasses on because we were trying to conceal the contacts until, you know, it was actual makeup mode. I didn't want to just be walking around and everybody, you know, see kind of one of our secret weapons, I guess you can call it. And so she did makeup, and I decided to check the clock. I wasn't sure if they were going to be announcing, like, you know, 1 hour left or, you know, anything like that. So I took it upon myself to check the clock, and it was 10:55, and everything on my face was done except for my eyelashes, my lips, and the lining contouring on my cheek. I believe everything else on my face and, like, the side of my head was done at that point. You know, and all she had left to do was, you know, lips, eyes, tape off my legs and airbrush my legs, and get me into costume, take my hair out of the wrap, and, you know, fluff it up and whatnot. So I showed her the time because we hadn't really ever done a full run through completely timed, and, you know, in my head I was showing her the time to let her know that we were good on time. You know, I didn't want her to be rushing and everything, and she saw what time it was and realized we had 1 hour and 5 minutes, and she kind of slowed down and started doing some detailing, which almost kind of hurt us in a little bit, because by the end of it we were both, it was like, you know, oh, do this and that and put it on and get your skirt on and this and blah, like, you know, we were, you know, you had to be in full hair, makeup, costume, you know, by the end time in order to for it to be considered, you know. So we finished that, and then it was, they brought all the models off the stage and in front of the stage for people to get their first opportunity for a photo op. And while the makeup was going on, you know, Crystal, you know, had me turning my head to do my makeup, and I can see people crowding around watching and people commenting on what they're seeing, and the comments seemed pretty positive. You know, there were a lot of people like, man, that girl with the eyes is dope, and I was the only person on our side of the stage who had like special contacts or anything, so, you know, I pretty much knew that I was who they were referring to, which, you know, was kind of a good sign. You know, it was like, okay, people are liking it. It's not just like, you know, oh, what is she doing, or anything weird like that. So then we had photo ops, and we went back for judging, and we came out, and it was, at that point, it was our lunch break, in which we had to be back on stage by 2. And I needed coffee bad. We had been up since 6, and I went to bed at 2, and, you know, it was going to be a long day. So I was like, let's go to Starbucks. And trying to get out of the building in full costume and makeup is really difficult. Everybody wants photo ops, which was not a bad thing at all. That's, you know, a good chunk of the reason why we're doing the competition in the first place, you know, to get your face and your work out there. But, you know, we were still pressed for time. We had to be back by a certain time. We weren't just on our own time at that point. We're like, we gotta get some coffee. And so, yeah, we came back by 2. We did touch-ups for the runway show. And that's when I started to zone out to try to get into my character for the runway. Runway started at about 2:15, 2:30. We placed third. And we came off the stage, and everyone else, after like the initial photo ops right after the runway show, brought their models back on stage and took them out of costume and makeup. And I stayed in costume and makeup all day and went around and got photo opportunities and promoted Crystal and, you know, handed out her business cards, because, you know, that's, you know, a good chunk of why we're doing this. Well, us personally. You know, the competition is fun in itself to be a competition, but, you know, you're here at a networking kind of event. You know, there's plenty of makeup artists and people from the industry here, and so we, you know, took the opportunity to promote ourselves. So that's pretty much how the rest of the day went. It took me about 2 hours to get to the bathroom when I had to pee, because I would take 2 steps and then it was, you know, 5 minutes of pictures and 2 more steps and 5 minutes of pictures. But I tried to make sure to stop and pose for everyone and with everyone. So yeah, that was how day 1 went. I went home. Well, I didn't go home. I picked up my girlfriend from work. I've been eating kind of better, less greasy, no carbs and everything for the past couple of weeks in order to kind of slim down a little bit for the costume, for the competition and everything. Just because, you know, I wasn't in model shape. I'm not a model. So my girlfriend, she was like, I'm going to cook you dinner. You've been working hard. You know, Saturday night after competition is going to be all about you. And so I picked her up from work because I was done earlier than I thought it would be. And I went back to her house and I slept, took a nap. Woke up, had a fabulous dinner. She's so great. She bought me flowers. Roses. Literally, I'm 22 years old and I've had a previous girlfriend prior to her and, you know, dated, you know, a nice handful of guys, like not a lot, like I'm not a serial dater, and no one has ever bought me flowers. And she bought me a dozen roses and made me steak and fatty potato dinner and bought me my favorite red velvet cheesecake from Cheesecake Factory for dessert. And I knew she was gonna make dinner. I knew she was gonna make steak and potatoes. She cooks, and I love potatoes. She knows that potatoes are like my die-all. Like, if you could only eat one thing for the rest of your life, as long as you could cook it any way you want it type deal, like, it would be potatoes. Like French fries, mashed, whatever. So she made me steak and potatoes. It was yummy. And surprised me with roses and red velvet cheesecake that I did not expect. And it was an awesome night. And then she agreed to come back with me to Imats today so I can get some shopping in, because I didn't get, you know, a chance to do any shopping yesterday. So that happened, yes, as well. So that's pretty much my recap of the competition. As far as day 2, I wore my Bill Cosby sweater today. It's a little bit hot, but I love this sweater. It's like one of my favorite articles of clothing that I own. So Shrinkle, you know, Amy, the founder of Sugar Pill Cosmetics, back when she was selling Krylon, I mean, she still sells Krylon on eBay as far as I know under the username Shrinkle. I purchased from her, and then via purchasing makeup through her, I found her Etsy store, or Etsy, however you say it, and she had this sweater for sale, and I love this thing. Like, it's totally 80s Bill Cosby, and I pair it with my fanny pack, which I wear this all the time anyway. I carry this and not a purse. Sue me. But I think it's, like, come on. You wish you could rock a fanny pack. But yeah, so I wore